So The Devil's a Part-Timer is getting a sequel next year, 2023. Now, the format hasn't been announced as of yet, but one could expect it's probably a season 3, just given where the story's at. I don't see them doing a movie, so we do know we're getting more, which is something I don't think many Devil's a Part-Timer fans really expected us to be able to see not once but twice within such a short amount of time, given it took damn near a decade to get season 2 as is. The biggest thing that is kind of holding this series back from being, I think, as loved and highly praised as maybe the first season is that I think there's two things that are kind of negating the hype for this season. The first of which is, without a doubt, the production, which honestly a lot of people, I think rightfully so, have criticized. There's a very inconsistent feel about this season. Some shots look amazing, but then a majority of the episode you just think, damn, it just feels unrefined, which you never would expect a show like Devil's a Part-Timer that finally came back to kind of feel like the viewers would say that about. But the second is that it's more of a setup season. I would argue most of what season 2 delivered for me is more or less what I love about this show, and yes, it took it to new direction, but I think it's intriguing content, and definitely feels like season 3 will be more of the payoff with all the setup that happened this season. But I think when a viewer waits nearly a decade, 9 years and some odd months for a show to come back, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of expectation, and when it's just the unfortunate circumstance of the show taking such a long break, had this only been a couple of years and they maybe had a bit more polish on the production, a setup season wouldn't be as pushed back against. But I think the unfortunate thing is when you enjoy something like I did, but then you have no hype from viewers or watchers, it's kind of an unfortunate circumstance, right? Because ultimately this season wasn't that loved. Like, that's honestly, to put it nicely, there wasn't a lot of hype, there wasn't a lot of love, and if anything, there was more disappointment than anything. I think I've been one of the more positive voices surrounding this season, but even I kind of feel a little bummed out with, just the overall wait. It feels like, honestly, it would have been better if this was a back-to-back 2-core with a lot more refinement to make that wait feel a bit more worth it. Am I going to be checking out the next project? Absolutely. Will I be covering it? Probably not. It's a mixture of no one really cares about the videos as is, and also it just feels like Devil's a Part-Timer is a better binge show, if anything. But overall, I'm excited to see where the story will go, because there is a lot of potential. All you can hope for is that maybe it gets a bit more time in the oven, and hopefully they don't drop it in January or, the spring season. I hope it's like a fall release so that there is enough time to hopefully give it a bit more time in the oven. And who knows, maybe season 3 or whatever they're calling it will be even better, both narrative and visual wise, and everyone will get back on that Devil's a Part-Timer hype train. Can hope, but we'll see where it goes. As for the last couple of episodes, they definitely did an intriguing job at setting up more. It was interesting because I wasn't quite expecting the confirmation so soon, but based on how episode 11 and 12 are going, I was like, okay, clearly this season's set up, and they're trying to build up to like some grand battle or some grand antagonist. Kind of just felt like that was kind of the momentum. You have the funny joke about them buying a TV and then all the TVs start exploding, and then you have this kind of like sonar pulse going on. Chi is in the hospital, and it just was looking like she was about to get possessed or something. There was just so much happening, and then to see ultimately, Emmy's mother and just how she was able to then use this like bow attack, which was awesome. Character I never thought I would see fight in any way, even if she was kind of being like a body double in that way. It was nice to see how it never felt like this was trying to conclusively end anything, but more so similar to the apartment fight back in episode 3 or 4 when his apartment got obliterated. It felt more like prolonging the inevitable, where you push back this threat, someone who basically we meet up with the whole idea of like wanting to not eat with chopsticks or wanting a fork, something like that. And then to see how that was actually the person they were looking for, and Satan's big move is, I'm gonna pour cola up your nose. And if that ain't the most hilariously Devil's a Part-Timer thing ever, I don't know what is. But it just feels like now that the momentum's finally here, while each of the individual arcs I think are great, the baby arc, the kind of vacation/summer job that they were doing, there's a lot of great moments throughout this season, but it just feels like because we waited so long, a lot of the momentum just kind of feel like it flatlined. And I'm hoping with season 3, or the next project that is, the thing that I'm hoping for, ignoring the self-explanatory, I hope it's more consistent visually, is that I hope that the momentum just continues to climb, because where they're currently at with the whole heaven-hell storyline, the whole Emmy's mother, some of those memories are now in Chi, so she recognizes a small Mao. There's so much potential for like a large-scale conflict, but I could easily see with how this season went, the momentum not being there for anime watchers. as long as they make Devils a Part-Timer content, I'm gonna be watching it, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like they have one shot to kind of regroup and kind of make the train get back on the tracks, because I think going into this season, there was a lot of hype for Devils a Part-Timer finally coming back, but I really haven't seen that hype, and it's not just like my own comment section. I've been actively looking at different forums and stuff, and it just feels like how much I enjoy it, which I think it was a fine and enjoyable season, isn't even the universally agreed, like, positive opinion of this season. So I'm hoping that with where they end this season, it feels like they really could skyrocket this show back into the hype atmosphere, is how I'd probably put it. But only time will tell. I really don't have a lot to say that I haven't already said about prior episodes. To me, 11 and 12 works in harmony to build us up to where they want to go from here. And based on what I'm seeing, Heaven is going to be an explosive conflict based on how they kind of retreated. They dropped some interesting information about how this human world is kind of like the perfect center for everything like Emmy's mother wants to do and everything like that. So to me, I'm excited. I'm cautiously optimistic, which is probably nicer than a lot of people are probably feeling about it. And I'm not saying the season looks trash or the season was trash. I just think visually inconsistent, narrative felt a lot like a setup. And I think this type of season works a lot better in a binge for sure. But most importantly, I just hope more anime watchers will give the next project a chance. If the next project doesn't live up to what people felt about season 1, completely get it, but it definitely feels like season 2 and this next project definitely need to be binged together to truly figure out, is more Devils of a Part-Timer what we truly want, or was season 1 a good enough stopping point for us? The one thing I will say about the production that I thought was top tier and remained just as quality as the first was without doubt the voice acting. As someone who loved the dub for Devils of a Part-Timer, I really found the sub actors to do exactly what they need to as well, and I think for someone like Mao, or even this adorable bundle of energy, Alice, I mean, she just captured exactly what she needed to, and all the characters just really felt like you never left them, right? They still felt like the same characters, and I think that's something that should be praised a lot, because a lot of times you only hear about people talking about maybe visually it's inconsistent or the tone of the show isn't exactly what they liked about the first season, but I think the voice actors, it made me feel nostalgic. Even though I just recently rewatched season 1 in anticipation, I really felt like the voice actors, they never missed their mark. And to me, that was one of the selling points and highlights of the season, because I think they did such a great job, and honestly, I do plan on rewatching this with the dub whenever that does officially happen. Either way, it was a fun season. I think there are some highlights. I like the daughter introduction. I think Emmy's definitely really grown with that whole connection there. There's a lot of interesting conundrums with, where Mao's loyalty could end up lying if it really does become, who does he side with, Earth or Hell, more or less. There's some interesting conflicts and dilemmas, and I'm interested to see where the characters could go from here, but we'll see where the next project takes us. I'll probably make a video of some sort when we get an official release date, not just like an actual year with some more information on it, but otherwise, we'll see where Devils a Part-Timer goes from here. But what did you think of either the season as a whole or the ending of this episode, or even last week's episode as well? Do let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Till next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.